Hi guys, it's Danny. Already today is story time for my little Phalaenopsis Mini Mark for those of you who might not follow me for a long time. I'd just like to tell you the story of this guy because he's just one of those orchids in my collection that does have a story and that I feel attached to somehow. And at the end of this video, there will be a question. So a few words about this guy. He is a Phalaenopsis Mini Mark. It is not a fragrant Mini Mark, so it's not a home variety. However, if you take a close look at the flowers, you will notice some yellowing around the petals, which means he's a little bit peloric, not all the way, but he does have a trait. He always bloomed like this. I purchased him like this. So yeah, he's unique in that respect if you want to. Now this is the only orchid that I know of which has this absolutely beautiful orange. Of course there are orange cattleyas or orange orchids, but this orange is not present on any of the orchids I ever saw. It's a beautiful color and the display is absolutely fantastic. I love the spotting on the petals. I love the very solid orange lip. Anyway, this is a orchid that I really wanted for a very long time, and when I found it in the stores, I flipped. Now I purchased this guy about 3 years ago in 2013, and he was the only one of his kind. He really did not look spectacular. The flowers were fading and also the roots inside the pot were rotting. Luckily I had a few roots on top of the media and yeah, things looked okay for this guy. So in his first year he did pretty okay. We also did some experiments. I pollinated one of his flowers and a seed pod formed, but it kind of dried before it matured. And then afterwards, this guy produced some keikis, which in return produced some flower spikes of their own. It was a bit of an experimenting time for me. Anyway, the guy was doing pretty okay, roots started to grow. However, 2 years ago, the spider mite apocalypse hit. And at first, I was not sure what I was dealing with. All sorts of spots started to appear on the leaves of my Phalaenopsis orchids, including this guy. And some spots still remain today, although these are fresh. We'll get to that. So back then I did not know I was actually having a spider mite outbreak because I couldn't see them. Luckily I could see them after about 6 months of trying to figure out what the heck's going on with my orchids. And afterwards I tried to get rid of them, and the Mini Mark was one of the orchids that were very affected. Now the leaves that have these markings usually don't last too long, and the Mini Mark sadly lost all of his leaves, and I'll show you on the screen some images. He was left with just, I think, one leaf, and then he just started to sprout very tiny leaves from the top, obviously because he did not have his kitchen to make food for him. And this is the first time that I kind of figured out that cutting leaves on orchids is not a good idea. I did a video on this subject. You can find it linked down below in the description. So during last year, this guy produced very tiny leaves, but each leaf was bigger than the other one. And you can see today that this was the first leaf, the second, the third, the fourth, and the last one is again tiny, because I had to unpot him. He did not enjoy that. But you can see the evolution. All these 4 leaves were produced last year. Now, I kind of got rid of spider mites with hairspray at some point. However, I did not anticipate how cruel these guys are. So an outbreak came again in my balcony and infected the Mini Mark once again, and behold, I have the spots again. You can see some damage on the older leaves as well, but these guys were really damaged because they were fresh at the time, so the spider mites kind of preferred them. Now, what are these spots? Well, the internet is really unsure. Some call it microfungus, which is a sort of hybrid between a virus and a fungus or something. Some people call it orchid fleck virus, but there aren't enough studies on this virus. It doesn't seem to affect all orchids. It doesn't seem to be as cruel as the Cymbidium mosaic virus and the ring spot virus. But some sources suggest that orchids can overcome it. And some sources suggest that you should discard the orchids presenting these signs because they will never bounce back. I really don't know what to believe at this point because I don't have enough experience with this type of virus. All I know is that this guy has it, if it really is a virus. Now, my only experience with orchids coming back from diseases are not related to viruses, are more related to bacterial or fungal infections. And I do have that case with my first Encyclia cordigera, which nobody thought would make it, but she did, just because she was strong and she had a good immune system. Who's to say that this little guy cannot overcome his infection, his virus, whatever the heck this is, if I manage to keep him free of spider mites, because now I know how. But then again, he is a problematic orchid. He's infected in a way or another with something. Now, I was contemplating of actually throwing this guy away and ordering another Mini Mark. The Mini Mark is not a rare orchid, but it's not the type of orchid you find anytime in the stores or even online stores. Schwerter had it once, I didn't purchase it, now it's not in stock anymore, and I'm not sure when they're gonna bring it. But I'm sure that at some point I can order this guy again. However, there is this emotional attachment between me and this guy. And again, I think that if he's a strong individual, he can overcome the sickness that he has. And I'm thinking, if humans can overcome their viruses, who's to say plants cannot overcome their viruses as well? Just think of the herpes. Most of us have it, we have it in our system, but it doesn't show. Whenever our immune system is low, then you get that ugly thing on your lip. But it doesn't kill us, we all live with it, we pass it to each other, but we overcome it in a way. There are only particular times when it actually shows. And sometimes this virus shows when the orchid is stressed, when we have spider mites feeding on it, and so on. So the question is, do I take this guy with me? I did create a poll. If you visit the info card right here, you can answer the poll and help me make the decision. Because for the life of me, I love him, but I do not want to pose any risks to my other orchids. A little side note, this guy will not stay in my greenhouse. I'll have orchids in the house as well, particularly Phalaenopsis, because my boyfriend likes Phalaenopsis orchids and he wants me to buy some really nice purple ones and this and that, and I love my boyfriend and I'll buy Phalaenopsis because he wants me to. So I will have Phalaenopsis orchids grown in the house. It will be good for me as well and for videos, because I want to have some orchids grown in the house as well, so I can make videos about growing orchids in house environments. Also, having Phalaenopsis orchids is really nice for videos because many people have Phalaenopsis orchids and I can answer questions and show stuff with Phalaenopsis. So he will sit probably in his own little corner away from the greenhouse, but inside the house, and I guarantee he will not have spider mites, so the virus will not spread. I swear. And I am the type of person who washes her hand 50 times a day. You might have noticed that my hands are pretty dry for this reason. I go through cream tubes like a crazy woman. So I am very careful with that, but there is a risk that if I'm not careful, this can spread to other Phalaenopsis, because Phalaenopsis are really affected by this thing. So the question is, do I take this guy with me or not? I am so conflicted, I don't know what to do. Mainly this is why I wanted to make the story of this Mini Mark, so I can remember him in case I lose him or I decide that he will not come with me. So what do you think? Have you ever had this disease on your orchid? What did you do? Did it go away in any way? Because as far as I know, there's no way to treat viruses. So please let me know by answering the poll in the info card, and also leave me your thoughts down below in the comment section below. Because I know that sometimes as a scientist, I need to leave the sentimental value alone and be realistic and think about the good of everybody else. But then again, we're dealing with orchids. It's not a life and death situation. It's just a lose a lot of money situation or not lose a lot of money situation. So you get my drift. So let me know your thoughts on this, because yeah, I don't know what to do. Alrighty guys, thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it, or at least you found it pretty to look at. This is the Mini Mark. If you want it, search for it. It's a beautiful orchid, especially in person. On camera, maybe not so much, but in person, just want to kiss him. So alrighty, thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to see more videos from me and stay up to date with what I do, simply subscribe to my channel. I post on a regular basis. Also, feel free to leave me other questions you might have about orchids or suggestions for videos in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you. As you know, I answer comments once a day. If you click on the left side of your screen, you'll be directed to orchidnature.com, where you'll find care sheets, identification sheets, and also you can talk to us in the forum section. And on the right side of your screen, you can click to watch another orchid video. Thank you for joining. I'll see you next time. Bye!